Welcome back to my channel. A player asked me, should we use the wrist in the forehand topspin stroke in table tennis? This is a very good question, but there are two opposite answers. Some coaches said you should fix your wrist in the forehand stroke. Another said you can use the wrist. So which one is the correct answer? We already know that using the wrist is crucial in the backhand stroke. The wrist is the main rotation axis to topspin the ball in front of your body. You should use the wrist not only for the backhand flip, but also for the backhand topspin far from the table. So the question is, does using the wrist in the forehand topspin increase the quality of the shot? It is unclear to confirm that because the main rotation axis for the forehand is your waist, hip. So wrist is only the additional force. Should we use the wrist? Let me share a story about my old coach. He gave me a great advice. At the beginning I didn't understand it, but many years later I can feel his advice are amazing. For example, he asked me to topspin with my legs. I said myself, what? Why hitting with my legs but not with my hand? Later I understand that it is the main concept of power from the ground. In the video New Level of Archery of Lars Anderson, he also learned from the ancient technique.
Once this technique was widespread, and the Syrian artwork shows that the method is at least 5,000 years old. Just as
The modern archery technique requires you to put the arrow on the left around the bow.
This one-eyed aim also led to bows with front sights. Archers Lars discovered.
But the ancient technique showed that you should put the arrow at the right of the bow. By learning this technique, Lars can now shoot faster.
If he wanted to learn to shoot like the master archer, he would have to unlearn what he had learned and start reading historical manuscripts. Perhaps most important,
He can shoot multiple shots at the same time. You cannot do that with the modern archery technique.
however, Lars found that archers probably drew.
He also learned from the ancient technique. The ultimate level of archery is holding the arrow in raw hands.
Taking it to this third level, that of holding arrows in the draw hand, requires immense practice and skill, and only professional archers, hunters, and so on would have had the time. When guns started replacing bows, this technique was forgotten. And the only reason Lars is able to do it is because he spent years practicing intensely. The hard part is archers were even faster. Lars has managed to shoot 3 arrows in 0.6 seconds.
In table tennis, you shouldn't underestimate the ancient advices. It can take you several years to discover that the advice is correct. The modern table tennis technique discourages the player to use the wrist in the forehand stroke. Using the wrist can increase the stability of the stroke. However, I still remember the advice of my coach. He said, in table tennis, using the shoulder is elementary school level. Using the elbow is the high school level. Using the wrist in table tennis is the university level. And using your fingers in the stroke is the master level in table tennis. So, if a coach said, no, you should fix your wrist in your forehand topspin, he has reason. You should learn the basic first, use your hip and rotate to hit the ball. Some players don't do the basic, but just snap the ball. With the wrist, it is a very bad habit and can lead to wrist injury. However, if you master the basic technique, you should also use the wrist in your forehand loop. This is a training session of a young player with Zhang Yining. She is considered one of the greatest female table tennis players in the history of the sport. You can see that the young players had a solid technique. Her forehand loop is very consistent. She does the weight transfer and applies power from the ground to lift the ball. However, Coach Lee Sun asked her to relax more the wrist and use the wrist in her forehand stroke, relax and increase the explosiveness in the shot. Relax and contact the ball at the head of the racket. Hit like the cowboy whip. You can see that Chinese coach focus on the small detail in every technique. That is why their technique is the top. Using the wrist is the way to learn the fine technique. Now you understand that to achieve a superior, the best quality shot, you should use your wrist. However, it is the additional detail, not the main focus. Learn the basic first and then add the wrist later. So what are you waiting for? Go to the training hall. Try to relax and use the wrist in your shot. You will feel something different in your table tennis. See you, Coach Emreth.
On the